T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What if I get to a place?
I say, yeah, buddy, rolling like a big shot. Got cleaned up and I only serve a big guy. Fresh start time, fresh new mind. Free on the inside, free on the outside. Why you worry when you know that he gon' make a way? I done seen him make a blessing like 100 ways. Everybody got a time, a dog gon' have a day. Only running to the Lord, I never run away. Curving him, demons try to get me, but I'm swerving him. Circle him, target in my flesh, I had to murder him. Satan only come to see your joy just like a burglar. Smirking him, I know he got it covered like a pergola. Yeah, buddy, rolling like a big shot. Got cleaned up and I only serve a big guy.
And we back at it. We back at it. We back at it. We are back at it, ladies and gentlemen. I know it looks like I'm lonely tonight, but we have a special guest in the building. Can you guess who it is? What up, Rashonda? Anybody got any guesses? This brother gonna slide in from stage left on you real quick.
Man,
And
you bring your brother on. God, dog.
Listen, it was a nice surprise. They wasn't expecting it. You wasn't expecting it.
That was real professional.
Listen, I loved it. It's like I thought you just got cold feet and just ran like, I can't do it.
Can't do it. Not tonight.
Oh, listen, speaking of cold feet, ladies and gentlemen, Mike will not be joining us tonight because, as you know, that brother is dead. He has died to self. He said that was it for him. We will never see that man again. He done went off and got married, bro. He officially made it happen.
Yeah, congratulations. Anyway, you are officially, you are no longer individual. You are a party of two everywhere you go.
Everywhere. Listen, man, when I tell you we've been hearing my husband, my wife. I'm here for it though, man. I'm here for it, man. Wow. Okay. Yeah, so if you don't know, you've seen Donovan on the show before, so clearly they're trying to give us a name, bro. The Big D Duo. I'm Double D is okay. Big D Duo. It's a lot going on with that phrase, so we'll take that into consideration. Gee whiz, let me put a few people on timeout real quick so we can get this show on the right foot. What is that? There we go. All right. So for those who didn't hear, Mike will not be joining us tonight, but per usual, we love to have our brother Donovan on. We try to make a commitment to getting him on more often. But before we get too deep into this show, I wanted to give him a moment to share his other podcast that he's working on. So give him a little bit of information on you, bro.
Oh, man, I appreciate that. So I have a podcast called the Full Menu Podcast, where I basically am giving a space for men to create. One is collaboration, right? But we want to really talk about mental fitness or mental health, but also just a space about relationships and, all different kind of things, man. It's just a space for us to be free and to, have the conversations, that we don't usually have. And just kind of change the stigma of men not talking about their feelings, not talking about the things they go through, struggles they go through, from being fathers to being husbands to being boyfriends to being just men and going through life and experiencing life to the fullest. So it's a great space.
Yeah, man. I love that we are getting our voices out there, especially when it comes to in creating spaces for people to be able to share, grow, evolve, be seen, be heard. You know what I'm saying to you? Because it's easy for us to be marginalized, and we got to create spaces for us to know that those margins don't. They either don't apply to us or we're not limited by them. However you want to look at it.
100%, man. 100%.
Yeah, man. And so when do you do that podcast?
So we have 11 episodes recorded already. I haven't been doing it on the live stage as much anymore. We've kind of peeled back, but we're actually starting our season 2. So once we do that, we're going to probably go live a little more. But yeah, so we're in the process of doing some things, cleaning up some things, and trying to get a better structure into place, right? And I know my partner Otis, he's always traveling a lot. He's a real estate investor, trainer, and he has his own company and things like that. So he's always traveling things. So we've been trying to just keep everything in line that way. So be on the lookout. For sure. Yeah, it's awesome.
Be on the lookout. Go follow him. Your IG tag, you want to throw it in the chat for everybody?
Yeah, it's at the bottom. It's Donovan G. Gaspar. And then and you can get all my other links from there.
All right. I know that is odd. Two guys, the same name, but different perspective, opinion. Point. Yeah, it's. When I first met you, bro, I didn't know anybody else named Donovan. I was like, I thought I was unique, and then here you come.
Right. I was here first.
I was saying you had it before me. I was like, golly. I know you pushing what, 62, 63? Right.
Wow. That's what we're doing. Okay, cool. Good talk. No. Just turned 46, man. Turned 46 last Tuesday, man.
That's right, bro. Yes, happy belated birthday to you, man. Did you do anything big to celebrate?
I got snowed in. Yeah. It was snow. It was on a Tuesday. We left work early. I told everybody, congratulations, you're welcome. We left off and I got snowed in. Yeah, so it was great.
Ain't nothing like some isolation for your birthday.
I love it, man. I'm okay with it, man. Listen.
Yeah.
I'm blessed to be here. I'm blessed to, have the opportunities. I'm blessed to see another year. I spent it with my son. He was here with me. My daughter came by, dropped off a gift right before everything we got snowed in.
Yeah.
So I was happy, man.
Amen.
I'm not, listen, guys ain't too complicated when it comes to just simple stuff. We just want simple things. And my motto is I want to have perfect moments with imperfect people. And I think that's the only thing we can ask for is perfect moments. Nobody's perfect. So I'm
perfect moments with imperfect people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just keep giving us that tonight, man. We'll take that. We'll take that tonight. I'm gonna let y'all know up front. This show may be an hour. It may be 2 hours. Pray our strength because Donovan, what time is it out there where you at?
It is now. It's 11 o'clock.
It's 11 o'clock. And me, I've been at the dress rehearsal for this wedding. I've been at a wedding all day, and today we did the bridal whole brunch. I think I used up all my social capacity for the week, so we might tap out early. We gonna just play it by ear. So we'll see what's going on. I guess the best part of my week though was seeing my brother get married. Man, his wife not only made vows to him, but also made vows to his son, to Denham. You guys know him, and she made that a part of the ceremony. He didn't know, Denham didn't know, but the priest or the officiator, he knew, and he's like, it's something special we gonna do. Man, almost took the whole audience out, bro. She had the brother come up there, his whole 13-year-old self, and spoke to him about her commitment. Man, we was like, bro, all right.
You got one.
Yeah, I ain't cry though. You know what I'm saying? It didn't fall. It just it welled up. I held it together. We almost lost Mike though.
Dude, that's what's up. Because I think that is one of the hardest things to do is when you are blending families or you're taking a child in from another relationship and the other person can accept them and take them in and make them their own and make them feel comfortable. I think that is huge. My story is I've had my son since he was 1 year old. And when I got married, when I first got married, that was my ex-wife is basically considered his mother because of how she kind of took him underneath her wing and became. So
let me ask you a question. Did you do single fatherhood for a little bit, or was it always like co-parenting?
did for like a year. It was the hardest time of my life. Yeah, it was one of the hardest times of my life. I give mad respect to single mothers, because it's definitely. I had to quit I had a retail job. I had to walk out of the retail job because what they did. Shout out to Verizon Wireless. I was working, and I remember I worked literally for a month, and I got paid in that month. I got paid $13 because of how they went from. They basically told me it was something about me going from full time to part time, and the way the system works and whatever it was. And so for somehow, some way, I only got paid like $13 one time, and I got like paid like $3 the next time. I was like, what are you guys talking about? I've worked more than 40 hours, but because you put in the system that I'm working part time now, it's not using a check. That doesn't make any sense. And as soon as I quit, they called me and I walked out, like legitimate Control Alt Delete, locked my thing and walked out. And they had the HR person call me and say, hey, look, we want you to come back. I'm like, well, can you cut me a check today? They said, unfortunately not. I said, well, unfortunately, I can't come back. And when I left, check in the mail, literally FedEx, that's like within 3 days for like 12 grand. And so I'm like, you guys kept all this money from me? And I'm like, I got rent, car note, daycare. I'm like, I'm talking to his daycare provider, like, it's coming. I'm like, it's nothing. It was the hardest time. Yeah.
Amen. Amen. That's all I'm gonna say, because I ain't never been through it, but I can only imagine, bro. So
how it was gonna work out, man.
All right. Tonight we're gonna do what we normally do, which is share experiences. It's so much. I want to make the whole show about that, but I know that we have things to do here. But I feel like it's going to come up later, because it's something that we learn in those experiences. There's a quote that I live by, and it says that you're only tested when you're being considered for a promotion, right? And so when I look at those kind of seasons in time, not only what they reveal to you about yourself, what they reveal to you about life and about how it works. And I think that, sometimes it's our misconception of this reaping and sowing, this karma, this idea of waiting for life to happen to us, that limits us from really living our fullest. But when we start to see obstacles or see tests or challenges in a unique perspective or in a different way, it really does open us up to maximize on them when we recognize how much of that is really in our control, or at least under our influence. Yeah.
God only gives the toughest battles to his best soldiers.
Man,
that's simple, bro. That's why I never looked at I never wanted anybody to give me anything. I never felt sorry about myself. I never felt sorry for my son. I knew it was just something we had to go through.
And it was all temporary. Speaking of challenges, tonight we're about to get into this relationship talk. A lot of people are challenged when it comes to dating. And I don't know if you heard, man, but officially, as of February 15th, I've put myself back in the space of being open to dating again. I waited till the day after Valentine's Day. It's just fiscally responsible for me to do that. Listen. So when me and Mike are talking, I'm asking him for insight and all that kind of stuff. You have a lot more experience, you know what I'm saying, in this arena, or a lot more successes under your belt. So I'm gonna probably be picking your brain, getting some insight from you too, because he said warning.
It's patience, man. I think that's the most important thing, is understand that you're dealing with another person.
Yeah, man.
But also you have to, you got to deal with you, because there are going to be things that you get tested on, right? And that you are your biggest enemy in a relationship. You are the biggest enemy in your relationship most of the time.
I feel that.
Not the other person. It's usually you, right? It's your past, it's your hurt, and when I say you, because if you look at two people, if they both can look at the relationship that way and say it is them and not the other person, there'll be so much more. There'll be a lot better relationship.
And when I look at that, when I hear that if you can be your greatest enemy, you can also be your greatest ally if you do the work.
Do the work. That's big.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's what I'll be doing tonight. Let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. You know what we're going to do? We're going to run down these videos and these posts, have an open, candid conversation, and maybe it'll help, maybe it'll traumatize. We don't know, but we know that we're not liable for anything that happens to you.
I'll say that right now. If you're triggered, it has absolutely nothing to do with us.
At all.
It's all you. You might want to take responsibility on that. If you're triggered, I'm sorry. So I'm going to say that.
Yeah, appreciate that. He knows how this goes. I hope you guys know how it goes, and here we go.
The top 10 most attractive hobbies men have according to women. I'm going to say, what turns them on? What gets them going? Maybe like weightlifting. Weightlifting is not on the list. I think guys feel like weightlifting. Maybe running. Not on the list. Something active. Sports. There are sports on here. There's one sport, mainly known in the Olympics. Swimming. Swimming is number 9. If you swim, you must be attractive. Skateboarding. Get away from it. Think of like stuff like your dad would do. Grilling. Cooking is number 4. Now, see if they're a good cook. Turn the lady on a little bit. What's something that we don't do? Eat salads. Eating healthy. No. Reading. Reading is the number 1 attractive thing to females that men do. What's a hobby? Something's in this basement. Podcasting. Not podcasting. Playing music. Playing instruments is number 3. You could swoon a girl with a guitar. Being nice. What are like those people like that? Comedians. Funny. No. What are we staring at right now? Cardboard box. No. Camera. Yes, the camera. Photography is number 10. Digging. Close. And plant things. Planting. Gardening. Gardening is number 8. What am I doing with my hand? Writing. Writing. If you're a writer, that's number 7. What about wax on, wax off? Painting is number 6. Look, I built the birdhouse. Carpentry. Woodworking is number 5. Como se dice? Speaking Spanish. Speaking a foreign language. That's number 2. Because apparently that's a hobby these days.
Bruh. Dude said a cardboard box. What are you looking at? A cardboard box.
I love him, man. He was like honest. Like, listen, this is what I see in front of me. I had to pull these up, man. So what do you think about that list, man?
Wow. That was a lot.
You need me to read them to you, or you got it?
No. I can see, like, I think a lot of them are, I won't say development, but there are a lot of things that basically, like, it takes a while for you to learn. Like, even reading, like, you can pick up a book, but it's like you have to figure out like what type of books that you like, right? Photography, you like photography, right?
It barely made it though. That was number 10. Barely.
I feel like that would be a little higher, man.
I think a photographer in the romance novels, I think if she's into that kind of stuff, I think that's immediately attractive. Because
carpentry, no, absolutely not. I'm not building anything. Like, no. I'll start a business or something like that, but I'm not. That's not on the list. A lot of things that I do. I do outdoor activities, like, for me, like I'm surprised. Was it jogging or running or anything on that?
No, bro, just swimming was the only swimming.
I fucking swim? I'm dense.
You know what? Those were not black people.
Yeah.
Maybe it's cultural.
Clearly, culturally, swimming is not a thing.
And these are hobbies, though. Like, no. Do you play any instruments?
Survival skill. I feel like swimming is a survival skill.
Staying alive is a hobby, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, listen, I tell you what, we are from South Central LA. That is staying alive. So
I'm going to practice staying alive this weekend.
It's our hobby, right? Well, okay. Let's go.
When I think about some of the activities I've gone on with women when I've asked them, what would you like to go do? I do know that painting shows up a lot. Women that I come across tend to really like painting. I suck at it, though.
What is that? I feel like, even with that, right? I feel like it's the extracurricular involved with painting. You're probably drinking. Right? Oh,
what's that? Paint and sip?
Wine and design or something like that.
Like
that. So
okay,
that's the curricular. That's probably what they're looking at. It's like, oh, we can paint. Let's go paint, and we could drink. I'm like, shit, we can sit down and drink. Or we can just watch TV and drink. That's what we would. That's what guys would just say, right? But like painting, sure, why not? Okay. So
let me ask you this question. So I'm looking at some of the stuff. They were even shocked that foreign language is on there as a hobby. Like, I learn languages for fun. Like, I think when I'm looking at you, talking to you, it's like, I think our minds, when we think about if I have extra time, what can I do to better survive?
Right. What is that going to how is that going to better me? Right. Foreign language, I can understand. I wouldn't put it at number 2.
What about instruments?
Man, I can't play the damn kazoo, man.
Hey, no, I can play these tables though, son. I can play and play the table.
I'll be like bruh man and Mark. Pick up.
Bruh. I gotta pick up the pieces. Okay, let me ask the audience, since we have a predominantly African American audience. What do you guys think about this list? Because somebody said, okay, so Nayo is
and the guitar.
She's from the islands. I forgot. She gonna slap me. I forgot which one it is, but I feel like instruments out there might be a bigger deal. So playing the guitar, carpentry like Jesus. Okay. I can go to Home Depot and do a little something. That could be a date. Wait. You want me to build it? That's not something we arts and craft we do together. I got it. See, is it just a me thing? You want to watch me? Yes. Wow, carpentry for sure. Having a significant other that is handy is great. Okay.
The phone and call people. Like, I don't know. Like, that's like my superpower. I can find somebody.
I don't know, man, because if I go to Home Depot and you see all my Latin brothers out front, I wonder how many of them is single, because they got the carpentry down packed.
Maybe that's it, man. Maybe if you whittle some wood, you can get you somebody.
There it is. Build a house is sexy.
Building a no. I was building a house sexy.
Listen, okay, hold on. Let's I don't want to say let's niggify it, but let's body painting. Is that more? That's like number 2. I know that.
Yeah. Porn making. I don't know. What do you think?
Making a movie. But again, these are hobbies you got to have before you meet her. So I mean, I think that we got to put this in perspective. What do you do on the weekends? Well,
I make porno. Yeah. No, I don't think I would go too far.
Plumber, electrician, mechanic. It's interesting that I hear plumber, electrician, mechanic, because I don't really see in the culture women calling them high value men.
Yeah. Would they call them high value men?
They don't.
Exactly. So then how and they say they want them, like, again, women don't know what the hell they want.
So that's coming up in another video. Interesting. So, and then Renee said, why would you want to pay somebody else to do what you can do yourself? Being a handyman or handy woman is amazing. It saves you a lot of money. Plus, you can build a multitude of things. Right. For me, I get it, but there's so many things that I could learn how to do. But what if I'm living a life of purpose and passion, and I make enough money to hire somebody else to do the stuff I don't really want to do, so I can commit to doing the things I enjoy doing? If that's the case, I could hire someone to take care of my wife if we just want to look at, passing responsibilities along.
I don't know about all that one, but
he said, "Hold on, bro. Hold on."
No, but
so let me ask you this, bro. So now we see that list. What if you could fill in the gap for the top 10 things that you would say make a woman attractive? Where are we starting? Anywhere on the list?
Athletic.
What's okay? My bad. What's the hobby? So
it works out.
Okay.
Something active. Active. Let's say active.
Active, like gangbanging actives, like she.
I don't know what. I'll tell you what, man. A woman that can shoot a gun is something too. I will say that. Yeah.
Factual.
Yeah.
Hobby.
Not a badass, but a woman who can shoot a gun. That's definitely attractive. And can handle a gun, right? I think that's scary, but also like, this is kind of attractive at the same time.
I'm trying to think what I would add to the list for that. A hobby that makes a woman more attractive to me. I want to try to stay in the realm of hobby. Golly. What?
There, bro.
I know, man. I think it's something around self-care. Like, so for instance, like I love that I learned how to cut my own hair. A woman that knows how to like do manicures and pedicures herself is a hobby. Somehow, I think that's selfish, because at some point I'm hoping that hobby gets practiced on me. So I think it might be selfish, but I like it anyway.
Want her to paint your toes? Is what you're saying?
See, well, hold on, man. There's a whole bunch that happens before this. Get the cuticle in the golly. How we get there? How we get to Tu Wong Fu so quick?
For clarification. Clarification. That's all I was asking.
I appreciate that. Okay. Well, okay. So Niall said belly dancing, Zumba, cardio, twerking. Is that under active? Because a woman that has a hobby of dancing, I like that. I think that's attractive.
That's considered active. Yeah, I would say so. You were legs and stuff, right?
Yeah. Okay. Self-care. I don't know if that's a hobby or is that again survival. Anything else you add to that list?
Let's see. So hobby. See, because I know someone would say shopping, and I'm like, that is not a hobby that I would.
I don't know about that. Massager as a hobby.
That's what a massager is.
As a massager. Listen. However it comes across.
It's like a gun or like a machine. A masseuse is someone who actually massages things. Hobby.
So let me read some of these to you. See if they are sewing.
Sewing. I can see that. I'm okay with that because I mean, on a quick, just something to be able to do. Like if woman pulls out a kit, right, and just like, oh, a button fell off. I'm like, oh, let me take that. I'm like, okay, shit. Yeah.
I'm tripping because I don't know how this one didn't come up. Cooking and baking for sure. I am tripping. That should have been number one. I just ate, so I'm not really.
Is that a hobby or is that again like these?
But see.
So this is my question.
Okay.
What's the difference between a hobby and a skill?
I think a skill can be classified under something you have to learn how to do for survival. I think a hobby is something you just enjoy doing that you may not necessarily need to do.
So I would say cooking is a skill, and then hobby is baking is a hobby.
Okay. I can respect that.
Like you need to survive the long. You like to cook. You cook to survive, right?
Dessert is optional.
Extra, that's treats and everything, and that's a different. If you ask a baker, I think that's going to be a different conversation that you have with someone who's like a chef.
Okay, I'm gonna throw this one out there because I like this one. So, interior designer, event planner as a hobby.
I like that. I like someone who can manage. If you know how to manage things, I think that is
okay.
Like skill or like an event planning or like management, right? You're managing. You can manage somebody's calendar or manage somebody's social media.
We're on the same page. What that says to me, if your hobby is like interior design or event planning, what it says to me is that you have an organized mind.
Yep.
That's attractive.
Very attractive. Very much so.
And I think they say that you develop a passion for the things that you were deprived of in your last relationship. They said it's possible. It could be a temporary passion, but you become very aggressively desiring of things you were deprived of in your last relationship. So I think I'm coming from a history of disorganized women. Not all of them, but a good amount of them were disorganized. So I find myself hoping more so for an organized mind because I feel like I was so deprived in the past. And I think it might be found within that hobby, possibly. Speak on it.
I think that is like, you're kind of in a space of like almost potential
PTSD.
Yeah, like danger. Like, just because, right? Because this is the thing, right? There's going to be levels to it, right? There's going to be someone good at certain things, and they may not have figured out what they're really good at. So I feel like if you're coming in and having that that expectation of like, she's going to organize. Oh, she organize my life. She can organize, certain things, and then it doesn't happen, right? Then do you feel disappointed?
See, the thing is, my life is organized. I just really want hers to be. I just want her to be able to organize her own. My life is, I am in order. I have a beautiful flow.
Why wouldn't you just be that for her then? Just be that organized for her. I'm not saying she's in chaos, but maybe she'd be open to it. And
you're right.
Part of the leading aspect for us, right, as men.
You're right. I wouldn't mind doing that as long as she's not hell bent on staying disorganized. I wouldn't mind at all. At the same time, I'm really not open to doing that for everybody, it makes that person so special.
That's right.
I think it's a man's joy to bring every aspect of his hobbies and his skill set to just drown his woman in those things and to shower her with those things. I think when it becomes an expectation from someone who has never done anything for you, hasn't even invested in you, doesn't really like you, I think that's where it becomes like tricking. But I think I think that when women don't get it, they think like, well, if you was a real man, it's like, I'm not into you. I'm that you're not my woman like that. But when you are, I think it's a man's pleasure to do that. What do you think?
I think definitely if a man is trying to give you insight to what he likes, so have it be, baseball or like football or, a sport or an activity or a team or even a team, you know what I mean? Like that you root for, things like that. I think that is a huge thing. It's like, okay, she can get on this, like, okay, we can go to a game or maybe, but it's also giving them insight to you because now they know what you like, right? So like, let's say for instance, on your birthday or Valentine's Day or whatever it is, they might get you a present to one of those things and you guys can go together. That's something that you can do together because she knows that you like it. And you know that you've opened that, you've given her access to that space for you.
I like that.
Yeah.
In my last relationship, she surprised me one day because I love the spa. She wouldn't tell me where we were going, and took me to the spa, and we did she got me a massage and everything, and it was good to know she was listening and just decided to surprise me with that because she got a lot of surprises and it wasn't an expectation, which is why it felt so good when it was given. I appreciate that.
Listen, women don't get. I don't think a lot of women truly understand the importance of follow through, right? For men, because I feel like I know women have been disappointed in life. I think that men have been more disappointed in life from like literally everything. That's why we end up doing a lot ourselves, right? Is because we've had so many disappointments from parents, friends, partner, homeboys, homegirls, whatever it may be. So we tend to kind of do it ourselves. So when we have someone that can follow through, it means so much to us.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think it's that we've had more disappointments, or it appears that men have been told they have to swallow their disappointments versus women can get the vent about theirs and find remedy?
It's the expectations. Like, so we're not supposed to have expectations of other people, right? Like we don't have someone someone's supposed to protect you, right?
Yeah.
We're supposed to protect ourselves, right? We're supposed to provide for ourselves. We're supposed to make sure that, we're safe, right? If we get in a situation, what I got to do, I got to put my back against the wall and fight, right? So there's nobody truly that comes and saves us in that sense. So I think that's kind of how we've always been. We're kind of like, Lone Rangers in a sense. We're always, we got our hand on our hip, ready to shoot. But that's to protect, and it's always just been us. So when we have someone that shows the ability to like, hey, can you do this for me, or could you, and they follow through. I think that means so much to us, and those are things we'll never forget. As long as you're not a user, like I know there are people
put that caveat out there,
who are out there that are users, and then they ask for things, but I think if you have a good man and a man who doesn't really ask for a lot, when he does ask for something, I think that's super important, is to make sure that you at least follow through with that, because you'll never forget it.
It goes so far, man. I like what Renee said. She said disappointed definitely causes you to think differently. Men's emotions are valued just as much as women's. It's okay. I hear you say it's okay to vent, but I have to also put out there to recognize that every person is not a healthy person to vent to.
100%. Yeah. 100%.
that it can backfire so fast.
Real quick. And it's unfortunate that you only know that from experience.
Yeah.
You have to go through it. Like, you don't know, like, no, unfortunately everyone doesn't come with a warning label, right? I wish they did. You would be able to kind of like, okay, well, hey, if you tell this person a secret, they're more liable to tell everybody else about it, and you show up to an event and everybody would already know.
Let me tell you some self-awareness that I came about the other day based on that. One of my friends wanted to tell me a secret about somebody I knew, and I said, don't tell me. I don't want the responsibility. I don't want to know, because I don't want to have to hold it when I see this person. I don't want it. And I'm learning that I'm not everybody's sounding board. It sounds so nice to, be a safe place for this person. I'm choosy about who I'm a safe place for, who can vent to me, who I'm a sounding board for. At first, I was just a servant to mankind. Now I'm a servant to my purpose, because I recognize that I haven't been called to everybody, and spending my capacity like that is that's financially irresponsible if you're looking at energy as a form of finance.
Yeah, I think that like in those situations, it's definitely you got to make sure that like sometimes it's best not to know certain things, right?
Yes.
Like don't tell me I'm okay. Like I will say this. I think you've had this comment before. Do you want to know a woman's body count? I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. You know why? Because it doesn't matter. You know, for one, it doesn't matter because at this point in time, you're here now, and as long as it's not continuously going, right, I'm okay with. But like at the same time, it's like these are just things you just like I don't want to know. Like, so if it's a secret about somebody else and I got to be around them, I'm like, now you're holding me responsible, or you're actually holding me hostage because you gave me information. Because if this person steps on my foot, pisses me off, says something, and I say something out my mouth, I'm not responsible in that moment. But you've made me responsible, and I don't want to be.
I want to speak about this before we move on. I think that it's wise to consider how much of your capacity you give to your community, your job, or whatnot. Because if you're in a relationship, do you think that your person should be the priority to your capacity, or should they just get whatever's left after you done gave to everybody out there? And that's just kind of what they should be used to because that's who you are.
I think it's a conversation that needs to be had, right? Because I feel I've gone through this recently and still have a conversation with them about it in capacity. I think that it is sometimes you don't understand the individual may not understand their capacity, right?
That's true.
They may think that they can take it on, right? And they can do everything. So, and there's certain things you have to do to kind of protect your capacity, but also your peace.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, turning a phone off or, shutting off computers, whatever it may be, right? I think it just depends on what you do. Because I mean, like I said, I do a lot of things. So for me, it's like it's very difficult for me to shut things off. I can't. Like I have a lot of businesses, because sometimes if I'm having conversations, this is a conversation potentially that could lead to money. So for me, it's like I don't want to lose out on a transaction. So I'm trying to keep that balance. Mm-hmm. And it's hard. It's just that I think that's where the continuous conversation is like, listen, I'm trying, just like, just be patient, right? I think sometimes being patient in a short period of time that understands, like if it were a thing that were over, 2-3 years, okay, that's something that we've had conversations for that period of time. But if it's a few months and not even a year yet, I think that's where we just kind of need to give each other a little grace, and ask for like just work with me a little bit. I'm trying to build something. I think that's also a dependency too. Is where are you in your business? Are you trying to build, or are you like in a place of like kind of you're maintaining, right? You have the systems up and going, or you have things going to where you can kind of pull yourself away. And I think that's the hardest part about being an entrepreneur or things like that. You photography or life coach or whatever it may be. It's like when sometimes it needs you to be there, and sometimes it's hard to be there for your business or the people associated with your business, or have to be like church sometimes, or school, if you're a teacher, right? You have to be there for the students, but then what about the person that you're with? If you're a police officer, or you gotta work, but then what about the person that you have a relationship with? So I think it requires communication.
I think you're right, because if I'm talking to Mike, he's saying the same thing. Have a conversation. But at the same time, this starts to give light to the fact that chemistry alone isn't enough. How do our lifestyles align? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You like somebody, you are sexually attracted to them, enticed by them, and you think that that's enough to make a partnership work. And
that's delusional. That's delusional. Chemistry only lasts for so long. A spontaneous combustion literally is an event, right? Something happens, right? The chemistry only lasts for so long. There has to be more to it than that. There has to be, truly there has to be continuous conversations, a continuous communication to build and to understand each other.
Yeah. I want to share something with you. One of my friends shared with me. Niall, I don't know if you're still watching, but thank you so much for sending me this. She sent this to me like a week and a half ago. So it said admiration versus romantic attraction. She said you can deeply admire someone for their wisdom, kindness, and the way they uplift you without feeling a romantic pull. Romantic attraction typically includes a desire for emotional and physical intimacy that goes beyond enjoying their energy. And I'm not sure how often we really take time to differentiate between, do I admire you or am I like romantically attracted to you? Do I desire to be in your presence, or is it I desire intimacy with you? And I think that starts to help us identify what role we should really play in someone's life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough, dude. I think that it's just because everything changes, man, over time.
Come on, man.
Time changes everything, because it becomes where it's like your toleration, like how much can you tolerate, with certain things, and it's also the unsaid things that weren't said that you've been holding on to, that every time they do something, it's like you haven't told them that gets on your nerves, or you never told them that does something to you. And then then you have another chemical reaction, outburst or whatever it may be. And it's like, well, that probably could have been avoided if you had a conversation.
We can't escape the need for the conversation.
There is no right answer, but it's just like the thing is, like, they're only actions. There's actions that need to be taken. And that's the communication, that's the understanding, that's the vulnerability, that's the, understanding. Truly, I think that is the biggest thing. I know I saw somebody mention it earlier, grace. We got to give each other grace. I think that we feel as though like we're all finished products, and we're not. When you get somebody, they're not a finished product. When you with somebody, you're not a finished product.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull this up real quick. Renee said, busy people don't have a lot of time, but time is the one thing you can never get back. But we are not promised today or tomorrow. Two busy people understand that they are both pulled in multiple ways. And I want to say this. What you consider busy may not be somebody else's busy. And the amount of time you may need one-on-one with that person is very specific and unique to you. I'm very careful when I use a word like, oh, that person's too busy, and use that as a blanket statement, because we all have different needs. And then, like you said, those things change. So I was talking to a friend before we did the podcast tonight, and they were talking about like what their friends tell them they should change. And I said, I'm not going to tell somebody what I think they should change about them if I don't want them, because I will be making them into what I want, but I already don't want them. So we have to be cautious of the advice we take from people when they're trying to mold us into what they think we should be like, especially if they're not the person we want.
Maybe. Yeah. And I think that is sometimes it may be a hard reality for the other person to realize that too, is that, when you want someone to change, or you need it to be like this, oh, why don't you do it like this? Why don't you do it like that? And sometimes you just got to be like, well, maybe that's just not them. Either you can, then again, you can accept that as them, as being them, or you can be patient enough to say, well, maybe they'll eventually get it right, or maybe they'll recognize what they're doing, right? But then, like, that's a hope and a dream. Like, are you being so
that's the risk.
It ain't easy, bro. There is no right answer, but you just got to deal with the choices that you make, and like you gotta be okay with that.
My friend asked me recently about, do I have any regrets, and I was like, I don't know how things would have been if I would have made a different choice. So I don't really have a foundation for a regret to live on, because I don't know if it would have been any different had I done something different. I'm just gonna live right here in this moment, because I'm trying to, again, get myself in. I'm purposely putting myself in delusion to try to make myself think there's no risk involved, when as long as the future is unknown, it's always a mystery. You got to take some chances. And like you said,
this is the crazy thing, is that, if you think about the past, you get depressed. If you think about the future, you get anxious. So if you think about the present, you got to understand the present is a gift. Yeah. You got to stay in that moment, and you got to be okay with that. So you can't try to turn somebody into something that they're not, or something you want them to be. And if they're not, are you okay if they don't ever become what it is that you want them to be?
We got a video about that coming up, man. I need to play it before this hour is up so we don't lose that.
Yeah, I got a little energy. We talk We're good. Yeah, we're good.
I just finished telling my friend yesterday. I said, missing what I had might make me miss what I have. Because they were talking about,
right? Because you're talking about what you had.
And so I'm so focused on what I had that I'm missing what I do have. So, I'm just got to be careful missing what you had, because you could be missing what you have. And they were talking about like wishing things were the way they used to be. And I said, I don't do that anymore. I recognize that it served its purpose in its season. And I want to invest in what I have now, because right now could possibly be better if I would just give it my attention.
I hear that as being grateful. I hear that as being
yes, sir.
Right, of what it is that you have. And like I said about the past, like you're dwelling on the past, but you got to be grateful that you're living today. Like the past is already happened, and here we are in the present, and you're not even paying attention to what you have. The future ain't guaranteed, man.
It ain't. Before we move on to the next video, I just wanted to say I want to add these two things to my hobby list, and that is poetry.
Is that writing? That's writing though, right?
Nah, poetry is different, bro. I feel like poetry has to be different. Writing, you writing essays and no. Poetry and what were the other one I saw on here I really like? Oh, and comedy. Poetry and comedy. As a hobby.
I feel like comedy is one of those tough things, because I feel like that's a coping mechanism sometimes too.
Okay.
Because sometimes you're making light of like situations, and don't get me wrong, but it's also a way to like, help like people get through certain things, get over certain things. But sometimes your comedy could be, like it can just be, it could be a coping mechanism.
I think the reason I say comedy is because I think that comedy is more responsible for compatibility or lack of compatibility as an identifier. I think it's the easy way to identify how compatible I am with someone, because comedy is such a big part of my life. Yes, I sometimes use it as a coping mechanism, but it brings a lot of joy to me, right? And I know that's not a lot of people's love language, but comedy is one of mine. And so I think for me to know that they have a healthy relationship with comedy, it can be dark, it can be dry, you know what I'm saying? It can be very, active, but as long as they have a relationship with, I think that for me, that's attractive, because it's such a big value in my life.
Sense of humor is a necessary. Like you got to be able to get around, with somebody. Like it's serious. Like being serious is not fun all the time. Yeah.
Okay, so let's all right. Okay, I'm gonna do it in this order. Let's do this one first, and then we're gonna circle back.
A woman that's like a good girl.
Oh, I'm such a good girl.
But she has to be a freak in the sheets too.
Oh yeah, no, I'm totally a freak.
But I don't want a girl with a lot of bodies.
Yeah, like a freak in my head. I like fantasy play.
And I want someone that's like really smart.
Yeah, I graduated college. I have a degree.
But I can't have a woman that's a know-it-all.
Barely graduated with C's actually.
Okay. And then she has to be independent.
Totally independent. Like I have my own businesses. I'm very independent.
But I need someone that's submissive.
Yeah, the businesses were actually given to me by somebody.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it's gonna work.
She was just like going all like.
Whatever. Hey, what was that? Coming to America? Woof, woof, hop on one leg.
It's a big dog.
So talk about the dangers of just trying to be whatever a person is looking for.
You'll never be whoever the hell. Like you can't hold your standards to that. You got to be you. You got to fucking be you. Like that's crazy,
bruh. She's a chameleon. She was like, whatever you need me to be, I will be.
Yeah, I mean, fuck like a dog.
So the video is alluding to after if you buy in to the fact that your value goes down. I'm talking to women right now. If you buy into the fact that your value goes down after 30, then you may find yourself in this predicament trying to make yourself appealing to whatever the person wants and gets rid of your own standards and start, trying to live within the idea of what people are looking for instead of what you want to be. and you look real desperate out here. And I don't think it's a tactic that actually works. So I love that they did a little comedy sketch on it. But that's some people's reality. They're just trying to be, because they feel like I'm over 30, I'm over 40. I got to get somebody. Whatever you want, I'll be it.
And I call those jellyfish, man. They ain't got no damn backbone. They ain't got no bone. You're not standing up for nothing. I'm not saying you got to push back against everything, but like you got to be able to stand up and be you and be okay with you. And I think that's okay. Like, I don't have to be okay with being away all the time, but I respect it. If I respect you, I'm good with it. Like, I'm going to be okay with it. But I feel like if you're trying to conform yourself, that is truly a form, I feel, of like, again, that's the jellyfish thing. And I feel like me as an individual, I don't respect you if I'm making you if trying to conform you to being something else. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I would never, I want, like, for me, so, be you and let me adjust. Right. And I have a t-shirt that says, I'm gonna be you. And then we can, what did I say? I'm sorry. It's be you, they'll adjust, because I feel like that's just how it is. You just got to be able to adjust. Everybody's not going to fit everything, and it's okay. But it's like, you can conform and you can make it fit if y'all work together in those situations. You know what I'm saying?
I do, because I think the sooner we learn that we're not intended to be everybody's cup of tea, the sooner we grasp that, I think the more committed we are to authenticity.
But don't give up. Like, we're not saying it's like that's for you to throw them away and say, no, this is not going to work.
Yeah, exactly. Have the conversation.
Have a conversation.
Going back to it.
I didn't think about that. Oh, I didn't know I was doing that. Because sometimes people don't even know how they act sometimes, or how they react to certain things.
Yeah.
And like, these are the things that you got to have conversations about.
Yeah.
It's weird that way.
Lakeisha said the pick-me's. I've heard that phrase a lot. The pick-me's. But so what would you say? And you guys in the audience can answer this too. What would you say in this day and age makes people feel the most desperate? What is it that's happening that are causing people to like come into very desperate behavior when it comes to dating? Time.
Age. Yeah, their age. Like, feeling as though like time is running out. Or that they are, maybe even like not having the ability to have children anymore. Right? If you want children, I feel like there's like a rush to a space.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. It's time.
I would say lack of fulfillment. I think that I agree with the time thing. I think I just put lack of fulfillment before that, because my idea is that when you're loving the life that you're living, I think that you actually become a little bit more picky or choosy in who you add to your life. But when you're looking to escape the life that you're living because it's not fulfilling, I think that's where we start compromising, in a very unhealthy way, or outside of the scope of compromise we really should be stepping into.
Yeah, I can see that. I saw somebody else putting there, they're scared to be alone. I think that's definitely one too.
Yeah.
That ability, like going to sleep in a cold bed is not fun,
Turn the heater on.
Like a pillow, you know what I mean?
Get a pet, you know what I'm saying? But because when you think about, again, when you make choices with the consequences in mind, getting with a whole person, infusing them into every fabric of your life because you're in a desperate space.
Yeah.
If you want to go all in and take that kind of risk, you might hit the jackpot. I ain't gonna say you ain't, but it's take a pause.
Yeah, you got to breathe, man. Sometimes you got to take a step back. You got to be like, dude, you got to have those conversations with yourself. You got to have a conversation with Jesus, God, like somebody, something else too, man. You got to literally you got to pray on it. Yeah, man. Taking on somebody else in your space on a regular.
I'm 30.
The faint of heart.
It's not.
15 years.
For how many years?
14. We were together for 16. We were together for 16. Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it was a lot.
All right. So even Renee said no one wants to be single forever, but it's okay to be alone. Some people will be single forever, but does single sentence you to a life of no enjoyment, no fulfillment, no happiness? Is that a death sentence to just a bland, dry, boring life?
Yeah.
Some people won't have children who've always wanted them, but is that now a new limitation to how much enjoyment you can have in life because you can't get exactly what you wanted? Or are you open to seeing and experiencing something that you didn't want and it possibly bringing you fulfillment that you didn't even know it would?
And I think that goes back to like, are your wants realistic enough? Are they realistic or are they like unrealistic? I think that's your list of like, you know, because I feel like sometimes women order off a menu versus a man is like, you know, we just kind of want somebody to just be good.
Yeah.
Be good to us, be good to, you know, and have the certain, you know, certain qualities, exterior and internal, right? That's big too, because you be like, you'll find something on the outside of the external, great. Internal, some shit.
Yeah.
You know, good.
I saw this video earlier, and the guy said that guys are choosing pretty hearts over pretty faces these days. Yeah, if they've been through some stuff, I think that's a hard revelation that some of us come to. Like, you know what, man? Nah, I've seen a lot, I've experienced a lot, and this is now what's most important to me.
Yeah.
So let's dive into this, man. Definitely want to get your perspective on this. So
real serious.
Right, I feel like it's going like this. We laughing and we hitting it with a boom. Listen, don't pick a person when you're depressed. Don't date when you're depressed. Like, golly.
You know, the best time to pick somebody is when you're down. You're feeling real bad about yourself, right?
That's when you got the greatest chance of getting you a baddie, because she's depressed.
What are you doing tonight, man? What are you doing tonight, sir? You know, like hang out with them. No.
Oh, okay. So speak right there. So we're going to go down the dating path. These are 3 questions. I want to get your input on these 3 questions.
I'm 30 years old. I just realized that after a first date, you can continue to take it slow and just go on 1 date a week for a while instead of triggering your anxious attachment style and ultimately running that relationship into the ground until you both hate each other because you tried to move too fast.
All right, my anxious attachers. I know how it feels to spiral into overthinking. Do they like me? Where is this going? What if I mess this up? Well, the truth is, that need to rush, it isn't love. And those butterflies, you can't trust them. Many times, it's anxiety. And this rushing, it creates pressure, which often pushes other people away. So instead, let's shift into mindful dating. And this is what I want you to try. After your first date, take a second and pause, ground yourself, maybe take a few breaths, and ask yourself these 3 questions. Number 1, did I enjoy their company? Or was I just relieved that they liked me? The second thing you can ask yourself is, did I feel comfortable being myself? Or was I stuck trying to impress them? Was I essentially wearing a mask? And number 3 is, am I focusing on them as a person? Or am I projecting and romanticizing my ideal partner onto them? And remember, 1 date a week is plenty. Use the rest of your time to focus on you, your goals, and your hobbies, and your happiness. Because dating should feel light and fun. It's information gathering, not like it's a race to secure somebody's love.
Yeah, for sure. That literally goes back to like the conversation that we just had about like you're rushing into thing. Are you liking what they like because you like them, or do you actually like what they like? You know?
It's crazy when someone hasn't liked you in a long time and then someone comes around and starts liking you, and you're so surprised that you kind of bypass some of your standards because you're just over the moon that someone likes you, and they don't really get a chance based on their own merit. They get a chance based on the vacancy and how you've been reacting, or how that vacancy has been sitting with you. So I think that we have to be aware of that. When I saw this video, I love these 3 questions because the first one I think I suffered from a lot. You know what I'm saying to you? Am I really into this person, or am I just like, yo, you like me? And I think that comes back to me having to address insecurities that I had, me having to look within my, you know, how am I valuing myself, me looking at my past and somehow using that to formulate my own value. And so when someone comes across and they like me and I'm like, oh my God, yes. And my friends are like, what are you talking about, bro? Like you're
likable, D. You're likable.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying to you. And so, but if you, man, I think I had some anxious attachment styles in the past that really messed with my identity. So when I went to therapy, he had to talk me through a lot of things, bro. You know what I'm saying? I think it even goes back to my club days. Like when everything about how I'm going to earn a living is based on how you compare up to another man.
Yeah.
That's the only way I'm making money. I got to have the curliest hair, the most baby oil, the shiniest muscles. You know what I'm saying to you?
You're giving me visuals, bro.
I'm venting to you.
Bro, like, come on, you can't be dropping baby oil in the conversation with me, man. Like, don't do that.
We got to bleep that out. This is a live show.
It's definitely not beat that. Somebody record this shit. I already know.
And we will be trending this week. The two Donovans discuss baby oil at midnight. But you know what I'm saying to you, you got to work through those things. Well, you don't have to, but it's wise to work through those things so that you're not waiting for someone else to validate you or to tell you what your worth is. You need to know what it is, you know what I'm saying, and then walk into the space with that confidence and understand that this may be a good fit, it may not be a good fit, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't change who I am or my value.
Yeah. Like you got to ask yourself, like, do you even like that person? Right? And like sometimes that may not even be the case, like, or do you like them because they like you, like you said, you know, or like he is. And I think there are a lot of people who are like that. There are a lot of people just, again, with someone occupying a space and time in their life or a position. And there's that, and that's why it is very, very important to do the work for yourself. For you to have this conversation with me and to say that you've identified those blind spots, you know, that you've been operating or you've been, you know, that have actually been controlling, you know, in your life and helping you or navigating and picking the people that you chose to be around.
Yeah.
It's what's needed, you know, and unfortunately the only issue that you have right now, it's hard to find someone else who's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
That's the part that is, to me, like, that is the most important part. If I'm doing the work, because I can only work on me over here, I need you to work with you over there. And then that way we're not working on each other. We're working with each other.
I think that goes back to our conversation about hobbies. Like, you're trying to find people who are maybe doing that work. Where do those kind of people go? What are their hobbies? Like, now I'm thinking of all the things. Like, yeah, I love a woman whose hobby is to be in nature. You know what I'm saying to you? I like that. Whose hobby is to be grounded, like, and do those kind of activities, because those are the kind of people that's kind of thing that I'm on. You know what I'm saying? That's the time that I'm on. So
Jim was not in there. Jim was not in there because being like working out is a hobby too. I mean, it's a lifestyle.
I took active.
Yeah, I mean, I said active as well, but I'm like, I was surprised that it wasn't in the top 10, right? I didn't see it there. I don't remember it being there.
Oh, for the men?
Yeah.
So old boy said it, like, Jim, he was like, nah. So for whatever the group of women they interviewed, Jim was not.
Yeah. Okay. Those are intellectual, you know, book club women, I guess, that, you know.
Listen, Karens, a whole bunch of Karens.
I like to read and take long walks on the beach. Yes.
And we are officially changing the name of this podcast to Baby Oil at Midnight. Okay. Thank you, Rashonda. I appreciate
Good night, right?
that suggestion. All right. So when I'm looking at these, is there anything that you would say? Because I love what your other podcast is about, right? And that mindfulness or whatnot. Is there anything you would say for men and women all should consider after a first date? Some time alone with yourself. What's something?
A recap.
What does that look like? With who? Yourself or?
You, and then have a conversation with them. Hey, did you enjoy your time? Like, what was the best time what was the best thing that you enjoyed about it? Right.
Huh.
I think that's the biggest thing. So what ends up happening, right, is you go on a date. You have a date with somebody else, and you say you had a good time, and then you ask them. But the question is, did you ask them if they had a good time? You know, you gotta, like, it was a good time for who? Like, for you, or you talked about yourself, but for them it might have been some shit because you talked the whole time about yourself, right? So what was it about the date that made it enjoyable for you because you were allowed to speak on you? You know what I mean?
That's good, man.
she's a good listener, or vice versa. It could be like, well, he's a good listener. No, I just had a fucking opportunity to talk. You were talking
Woo!
during the conversation, right? So it's a recap. If it should be a recap, like, okay, so if
That's
our
good.
dating's good, right? Is there anything that could have made it better?
That's good, man.
You know
I'm
what I mean?
happy I asked you that. That's so good.
You know, because maybe, or like, you know what? I didn't like we went to the movies, or I didn't like that we went to this place, right? It was cold. Okay, well, what, I don't know, just whatever. It's like you're getting you're getting another conversation off of what you guys just experienced together.
I like that because it's an opportunity to really just get honest. Just get. I mean, even if you haven't really, first dates can be a little timid for some people, but just like, hey, let's not to say that we've been lying this whole time, but when you walking me to the door, instead of wondering if I'm gonna get a kiss, let's get this conversation is. Let's shoot straight to each other.
Right.
This is what I enjoy about tonight. Was it enjoyable for you? Did you like it? You got any feedback? It sounds kind of, serious to the point, but I think that's necessary to a certain degree, and maybe more necessary for certain people who might be not competitively dating, who might be looking for something more serious and make that known.
Yeah. I think that would be a really good, again, it's another conversation to have. It was like, oh, we went to the movies. Okay, well, I didn't like the movies because we really couldn't talk. I kind of wanted to have a conversation with you, or we wanted to go a little more in depth, or whatever it may have been, right? Or if you're doing like a multiple thing, right? You went to a dinner and you go in the movies, and then you grab some dessert, or, whatever it could have been. Like, what was your favorite part? More than likely, it was probably the dessert part. So, okay, next time we may not have to skip. We can just skip the movie and just go and just have a conversation. I think
that when I speak to some of my men, who are out there dating and whatnot, their mind is so focused on trying to impress the woman that they never really create an environment for things they truly enjoy. They just want to make sure the woman is good. And so when you get to these part of the conversation at the end of the day, like, did you enjoy yourself? It's like, okay, yeah, you did. Okay, cool. We don't volunteer enough information about how maybe we felt or what we may have wanted. And why do you think that is?
I mean, define good. I think that's it. Like, because to me,
that's good.
Good is good for me, maybe not be good for you, right? Or good for you consider good may not be what her consideration of good may be. So ask her, what does she want?
Yeah, I think this and what do you want? Expressing that. I think that some men are so concerned about being seen as a good guy that they're not honest men.
That's why I say that. But the question is, would a woman want a man who is too honest? Or would they say, but they don't want a liar, right? So if I'm being completely honest with you and you don't like what comes out of my mouth, you're like, I'm a jerk.
I think it's good. As soon as you can find that out, the better. Right. Like, this is just how I can only pretend for so long.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
so
there's a thin line between you want to be somebody being honest. I'm like, or do you want me just to tell you what you want to hear?
Yeah.
I can tell you what you want to hear and get something and be okay.
So one thing I know for sure that is different about me this time around as I open myself back up to dating is that, as my therapist said, I'm definitely advocating more for myself. And I'm also being a lot more just direct, kind, fun, because I'm a fun person. I can work on my kindness, but I'm definitely a fun person. And making sure I'm just direct. You know what I'm saying to you? I used to try so hard not to re-traumatize people. I used to try so hard to prove to women that good men still exist. I'm the furthest concerned with those things now. I recognize that just being my authentic self is going to be triggering for some people.
Yeah. Well,
and there's nothing I can do or should do about it.
It's okay.
It has to be.
It's okay. That's it. But exactly, it has to be. This is you, right? You don't ever want to be in a position of where you can't be you, where you can't show up as you, and you're around your boys like, bro, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
Dude, right? Like, what are you doing? Like, and it's not saying that there's things that you haven't done before, right? Hey man, we've never seen you do this, but it's just like a completely different you. There's still that energy about you. There's things that you can add on to, and there's the blind spots that we've all had where it's like, okay, well, there's some things that I'm willing to work on. I'll work on maybe giving more compliments or do certain things like that, and like I'm just not used to it.
Yeah.
Right. I'll work on it. You know, if you can give me the grace, you know, give me some time just to give me to continue to work on it, I'll do my best to make it more known, right? But again, this is not the first date. You know, it's not a first date conversation. But I think that one thing you need to have is like what are some of your weaknesses? What was the reason why you broke up in your last relationship? Do you feel as though you had any responsibility in that, or do you feel as though it all happened to you? I don't care if he cheated on you. I don't care if he cheated on you. I don't care if, you know, anything, he whatever it was, right? There's going to be some level. It should be some level of accountability from the other person.
Because you were a partner there.
You were a partner in this. You made that choice. You chose that person.
Yeah. Yep. Lakeisha said men are about to become more honest if they're not already, and that's where we all need to be.
Women can be honest, and they be honest all the damn time and tell you what they don't want and what. But I don't think their honesty is truth.
So let's. You want to hear some honesty from women? I got a video about that. I wasn't sure if I was gonna play this tonight, and we ain't got to spend that much time on it. But I was just like, dang, it sucks that I've experienced it. Why are you excited? Why? All right, here we go.
Real women come on this app and talk shit about everything a man does. You talk shit about his height, his weight, the clothes that he wears, the cologne that he has, the friendships that he has, the relationship that he has with his mom. You talk shit about him being a provider. If he's a good provider, then he's a fucking simp. If he's not a provider and he does nothing, then he's a bum. If he works all day to provide for you, then he's working too much and doesn't like you and probably is cheating. But if he doesn't work at all, then he's a bum. If he takes you on a coffee date and actually wants to get to know you, then that's low effort. But if he takes you to a 5-star dining and doesn't say a word, then that means he only wants to get in your pants. You talk shit about whether or not he's husband material based on what your friends are doing. You talk shit about him being emotionally stunted because he can't read your mind. You talk shit about him being a narcissist because he's trying to set boundaries with you and expectations with you and you don't like it. I'll talk shit about his income, and if he doesn't make enough, then he's a bum. If he makes too much and doesn't spoil you, then he's still a bum. If he actually shows interest in you and it cares for you in the beginning of a relationship, then that means he's manipulative and he's love bombing you. But then if he stops doing all of that stuff altogether, then he's a low effort man and doesn't give a shit about you. And let's not forget entire social media pages dedicated to their deadbeat baby daddies, but right, it's only men talking about the women. And last time I checked, sticking up for yourself against somebody who insults you does not make you gay. Some of y'all have friendships based off of people that you hate, but yet your caption says men should just start a group and date each other. And the reality is women want men that are like women. And let's be so for real. Women can dish it, but they can't fucking take it. And obviously you know that because you turned your comments off. The irony of all of it is so many women talk all this shit about decentering men, but they're so addicted to talking about shitty men because they can't attract good men in the first place. So their entire identity is wrapped up in talking shit and bashing men. Okay, bye.
Who is she? Who is that lady? Who is she? I want to have a conversation with her. Listen.
I had a feeling he was gonna like this. Go. The floor is yours.
Listen. Oh my God. Listen. Whew. So I remember going on the show, right? I went on the show, and I remember when they did they dropped the promo and it showed my picture, and then I had women saying, "Oh, he looks cynical." Wow. Right? I had a blogger tell me, she said I didn't look accountable. Ha! And like I said, this is all the stuff that I would get from women, right? And then when a woman she dropped this and like she didn't know I was in the group, right? And she posted it, she said something on my picture, and I went to her page and I took one of her pictures and dropped it on the chat. I said, "Well, listen, I'm like, stop wearing your Tuesday wig or your Sunday wig on Tuesday, right?" I'm like, but then I'm sassy, right? But I'm like, no, if we're gonna play Joan, if we're gonna go back and forth, you trying to talk shit, let's talk shit. Like, be open to me being able to talk shit to you too, right? Well, you chose to go like that, but okay, but that I didn't choose for you to try to break me down based off a picture, right? And I feel as though right now, I feel like women in this era right now, they are so social media driven off of what the idea of a good man is, when they really haven't even written these ideas down as to what they truly want from a man, right? Because it's always about what they want from someone to be, because based off of what they've seen on TV, what they've I don't know. It's like somebody said it earlier. I was like, they want a Superman. They want They want him to be Superman. They want him to be, Clark Kent. They want him to be a millionaire. They want him to be Tony Stark. They want him to be, you know what I mean? Like they want to be all these things. There is no superhero like that. Every superhero has a weakness. Every superhero has a limitations of their power. Even the most powerful superhero has a limitation of their power. So you're telling you want a perfect person, but you're not even showing up as a perfect person. You don't even have half of the things that you're asking for from a man, from it being 6 figures, from it being 6 foot, from it being six inches, from it being, whatever it may be, right? And the job, and he has to have a career, and he's got to be able to take care of me. He's got to be able to do this. But you got 3 baby daddies. You got all these things, but you're saying you want these things, baby. You got to be happy with if you can find somebody that's willing to accept you for who you are, as opposed to what you say that you want, this laundry list. And I'm not saying these aren't like, you shouldn't have a wish list. That you should have a list of things that you want from your partner. But those are things. These are also like, I want somebody who's grounded. I want somebody who believes in God. I want somebody who's willing to, who's accountable, who has structure in their life, who understands what right and wrong is, right? I want someone who is willing to work with me and be patient with me, show me kindness, show me those types of things. Like those are attributes that and these aren't things you're going to see in somebody.
Yeah.
These are things you have conversations with, and over time you will actually see that this is the type of person they are.
Experience with them
from a facade, or from just from this you think your ass is Burger King and you can have it your way. You've not showing up like that for anybody in that to be asking those things or demanding those things.
I was talking to my friend before the podcast, Pook. We were talking about this topic, and again, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna put this on the podcast tonight, but then I was like, I think Donovan will eat this up, because it sounds like previous conversations that we kind of alluded to on this podcast, but we didn't have a video to really usher in the conversation. And so I landed in 2 different places, right? The first place I landed was, there are women like that. And me and Pookie were talking about, sometimes it's just good to change your zip code. Get outside of the area that you're used to being in, and you might find a whole different mentality of woman or man. And where that's not the norm, where that's not the practice, where that's not the mindset. But say, for instance, you are in a place where that is the norm, that is the practice, that is the mindset. We were talking about, people being, toxic or traumatized, and we were all like, man, what happened? You know what I'm saying? I know people use that phrase facetiously, like, who hurt you? But a lot of people walk around here hurt.
Oh, 100%.
And I think that me and Mike have discussed it plenty of times. It's not your job to fix them, and it's not your place to sit there and take the abuse.
Yep.
And I think that a lot of these people, I know that I've not always been in a healthy place. The best thing you could do is let me sit within the room of my consequences from being the way that I am. It's no amount of words sometimes that can disprove a person that's committed to being in that dark space.
Yep. I have sat in the dark, like legitimately sat in my shit.
Mm-hmm.
And dealt with it and and got present to it, right? It was but I don't have time to sit here and cry over. I don't have time to sit here and dwell over why me? What is this like? Man, listen, I believe truly, like, God does not make mistakes. Everything that we go through is on purpose. Everything that we've experienced is on purpose. All failures are lessons. All successes are just truly those are lessons as well, because they come and go, right? You have to go through stuff. You got to go through hard times to get to the good times. And I think that's where people aren't willing to do, is they want the good times and all the good moments, because they put themselves through the hard times, and they want the person who shows up to be the person who saves them. They want someone to save them. And I'm not saying from a standpoint of because there are women, there are going to be women who are going to say this. They got their own bag, they got their own stuff, and no one's saying not from that type of saving, but there's a saving you from the next relationship, saving you from the failed love, saving you from saving you from you most of the time.
That cycle. Mm-hmm.
It's protecting you from you. I had to have this conversation with my son. I said, do you know what a parent's responsibility is? I said, do you know why you have parents? I said, they're here to protect you. And they're here to protect you from other people. But most of all, we're here to protect you from you.
Man, that's good.
We're here to protect you from you. And I feel it's the same way when it comes to relationships. You need to find someone who's willing to protect you from you. Who's willing to tell you when you're wrong, when you've done something wrong, when you're acting wrong, when you're reacting wrong, and who's willing to sit with you and say, hey, you good?
You know why I like that? Because in order to do that, you also have to look in the mirror and face yourself and say, my future happiness is not dependent on this person's presence in my life. I think that understanding helps you to be honest with people. Sometimes people are scared to be honest because they feel like they might lose this person. This person may not like them anymore. But if you feel like your future happiness is tied to this person's presence in your life, it may be the catalyst to you being fake, to you pretending, to you not holding that person accountable, because you don't want to rock the boat and upset that person and they walk away. But the more secure you are, the more you understand that, you know, the major enjoyment of your life is under your influence, not the other people around you. I think the easier it is for you to just shoot it straight with people. Like, look, you need to get that in order.
That, and then okay, just like this, D, like, so who's responsible for your happiness?
Me?
I'm responsible for my happiness.
Yeah.
You know, whoever comes in your life is responsible for their happiness, right? That's just how it is. It's like we can't put that pressure and those unrealistic expectations on other people, and we expect them to make us happy. And when they don't make you happy, you ready to throw them away.
So I wonder, if they don't make me happy, are they making me unhappy?
Again, to me, it's acceptance. I think that's the biggest thing. I think what I've learned, and again, 46 now, man. And I think that I'm in a point right now where I just, I'm not saying accept in the sense, but I accept my past for my past. It was for lessons, right? I accept my future I look forward to my future, but I'm staying in the present, and everything is a gift for me. So when I'm talking to somebody, when I'm engaged with them, when I'm, you know, if I'm loving on them, and you have to be okay with who they are and not try to change them, right? You have to allow them to show up. If you, and again, it's not about settling. I think that people, because they're going to say, no, I don't want to somebody, and it's not settling. But there comes a point in time, it's like, you got to remember, you're not perfect either. And I think that's the biggest thing. That's the most frustrating thing in situations, is that we go into situations. Sometimes people go into situations thinking that they are the perfect person. They're the perfect mate for somebody else. Like, oh, I'm this. I got this. I got this. I got this. Well, guess what? The other person thinks the same way sometimes.
Do you think that, because it's in English language, you know, we just use that word perfect so loosely, but would you say there's any truth to the statement that how you are today is perfect for someone, but maybe not the someone you want?
One more time. Say that again.
How you are today is perfect for someone, but maybe not the someone that you want.
That could be it too. And again, I think that's where it's like expecting here we're about to have the combine come up, right? It's like expecting this 350-pound man to run a 4.2. Know your body, right? Know your body, right? But you gotta be real with yourself. Like, let's just be real here. So I've had conversations with many men who have gone to other countries and have met women who don't give them as much sass, who don't give them as much, you know, ego or whatever it may be.
Pride,
We'll wait on them, and I won't say wait on them, but we'll take care of them. We'll attend to their needs, right? And then they're like, bro, they make some of the women in the States look like they're fives,
based on how they treat them.
You know, they're 8s and 10s, and it's not the fact that they, you know, it's not just how they look, how they carry themselves, how they act, how they react, and things like that, right? And again, this is not for every woman. This is not saying anything that's bad about any Western woman, because that has nothing to do with it. I'm saying in the sense of, like, if you're trying to find a mate, there is the compromise of a relationship that has to be there for both people. There is an acceptance. Like if you're not, maybe you might not find someone who's 6'2". You good with 6'1", you good with 5'11". If you good with somebody who's, I want somebody who's, who has muscles. Okay. Are you good with if he's working out? Or if, or I don't want, if my guy, I don't want somebody who's fat. I'm like, well, what if if she's working on herself?
Yeah.
There's got to be some compromise, right? There's got to be something where you got to be a happy medium, be okay with, because the package that your gift is going to come in may not be the package that you think it's going to be in.
Listen, I ask people often when I'm doing this relationship coaching, why do you want what you want? And I don't say it for my ears. I say it so that you can hear your why. And then we kind of unpack that to understand that. So what if you get it and it changes because everything is temporary? What if you compromise?
You get everything that you want. And they read a book or they ate something or, or hell, what about this? Get into an accident.
I was thinking the same thing. Yep.
Walk again. Are you going to throw them aside because of all the things that you said you wanted?
They do.
And you do, and you would, and that's terrible, man.
Bruh.
You feel me? So again, you want me to give you my love, my heart, all these things, but you would leave me at the drop of a dime.
As soon as I lose one of those.
As soon as I lose one of the things that you say, again, that's why I don't want to be needed. I want to be wanted. I want to be chosen. I want you to choose me every day. Choose me. I want to choose you every day, because there are going to be times where you don't like me. There'll be times I'm not going to like you, but I choose you because this is commitment I've made.
Like I always say, man, committed to the commitment. Sheesh.
That's the hard part, man.
All right. Listen, I got another video for you. I know we working at 9:30. We almost there. If you feeling good, I'm gonna keep it going.
I was like, when we got any comments in there? Any crazy?
I think they just listening. Oh, hold on, let me see. No, here we go. There we go. Rashonda said, "Love is a choice." Lakeisha said, "Helpmate assistance means a lot to someone who sees above the mountains and trees." You speaking poetically there? Amber said, "It's your love that defines you." Rashonda said she's moving to Europe, then she'll be appreciated. Rashonda, she like 6'2". How tall are you?
The zip code.
Listen, I mean, sometimes that is the move, man. That is the move, depending on how serious you are about it. Some people are scared to pack up and move. One of my mentors always told me, he said, never be afraid to change your zip code, man. That might be you're so used to being where you are in the field that you're working in, or in the community that you live in, or connected to the people that you've known since you were a kid. Sometimes that's the reason why you could be single or lacking success or lacking fulfillment, because you know you have a pull to go and explore, but you lack courage. And courage is the reason lack of courage might be the reason you're not experiencing life the way you really feel like it's capable.
And think about that though, man. Like sometimes the man that you want, that the woman wants, that's what he does. He travels. He's cultured. You know what I mean? He's been places. You ain't got a passport. How the hell we going? We ain't got a damn passport. You want to? I want to go to Valdez. I want to go to.
Are you in position? If it shows up,
right? You can't. All right, let's go right now. Let's go. Oh, I don't have a passport. You don't get the hell out of my face.
All right, I got 2 more videos for you that I want to try to check out. So I don't even know which one to start with. Let's hold on. Let me see. Is that okay? So let's do this video first.
What are the 5 things I really don't like about him? And if you don't know 5 things you don't like about him, you don't know him well enough.
What's your advice for young women on how to make that choice?
You got to know them at least for a few years. You got to see them when they're down, when they're out, when they're sick, when they're tired. You got to date them long enough so they can't send their representative. And you have to see them sick. You have to see them angry. You got to watch the way they talk to the women in their family. You got to watch the way they talk about the other women in their lives. Do they blame others for their own errors? That is a huge central red flag. And then you have to ask yourself, what are the 5 things I really don't like about him? And if you don't know 5 things you don't like about him, you don't know him well enough. This is 5 things not to like about everybody. And then you have to decide, A, is it something that can accelerate? And B, if it stays the way it is, can I live with it long term? So if it's a temper those things can accelerate. And you got to see who he gets mad at and how mad he gets and what makes him angry. And if he cannot blame himself for his own mistakes, he's a guy to run from. Also, too much too soon. He meets you Monday, you date on Tuesday, he can't live without you on Wednesday, you got a problem on Thursday. Rapid, I gotta be with you and I gotta have you and I gotta see where you are. It sounds romantic in the beginning, but it's really like uber controlling.
Yeah,
the reason I like this the most is because I want to sit with this. I don't care if nobody else does. I want to sit with this and ask myself to get out of the delusion of love is blind. What are 5 things I don't like about this person? And am I willing to say them, confront them, and live with those things and still feel like I want this person or I want to choose this person? Because I think sometimes rose-colored glasses. Oh, no, nothing wrong with them. Oh, that's fine too. Or that's fine. Like, nah, be real. Like, what do you have a problem with? Like, they're loud. They are much louder than I would like for them to be. I would love for them to use a different perfume. I identify people by the way that they smell, and this one is not working. I love everything else, but this is an issue. And really start to have these kind of conversations, right? And then ask myself, like you said, is it an accelerator or if it's something that you can accept? Or I love this video because it's going to put me in a place of where I haven't been before, being to that degree of honesty with myself versus trying to make sure everybody, they're cool. I paint a pretty picture of them, but I want to paint a more real picture to them and to myself.
And that's the accountability part that she had just talked about, right? She's like, can they say it was them? Can they say, like during these situations? And I do, like I will say I have a temper, I will say, but it's not like a violent temper. It's just like I get loud, but I get passionate. I think that's the thing that
you went to Crenshaw High School,
right? And I was also raised in a house full of women, so it's like I had to get my point across. Raise my voice a little here and there, but it's not. But I will. Like I'm the type of person who's like, you know what? I'm just gonna remove myself from the conversation right now. Give me a little time. I'm gonna walk away. Right? Some people don't like that because they think as though I may not come back, but I'm coming back. Like if I tell you, I just need this. Because I need to comprehend what's going on. I need to like let it seep in, and I want, because I always, and I'm telling you, D, like this is me. Any situation, I want to seek out where can I take responsibility at?
Nice.
Right, because for me, it's the empowerment. I want to feel empowered in whatever situation it may be. I refuse to be a victim. Right. I want to feel as though, like I said, this is my choice and this is what I'm choosing. Right. So. It's what she said was so damn good because I don't think a lot of people can actually tell you what 5 things that you like about somebody when you are like, or you don't like about somebody. Right.
Yeah.
I really don't think they can. I really don't.
You think they refuse to, or they can't?
I don't think they're going to find 5 things they can complain about. But is that who they are is the question.
So talk to me through that. So when you say 5 things you don't like about a person, we're talking about character or just hobbies or
I don't like her shoes. I don't like her shoe. I don't like when I don't like how they chew. I don't like that he snores. I mean,
so I'll give you an example. The lady I was just talking to about this guy she was dating, she said 2 things. She said, I don't like the way he dresses and I don't like his brown tooth.
Now. Let's look at that. Let's look at that.
All right, let's look at it.
Those are cosmetic. Those are things that can be fixed.
Okay.
Right? Maybe he don't know that what he's wearing ain't really in style, right? Maybe he's stuck in a decade or something, right? Or just I don't know. And the tooth thing, I don't know. Listen, but this is coming from somebody. Listen, man, this is coming from somebody. I remember this. I fell. What the hell just happened? Did you get kicked out?
I'm gonna leave you here by yourself, bro. I feel like you're about to get real honest. Go ahead.
This is what happened to me. So listen, and this is probably why I'm extremely humble about as I am. I was young. I remember I fell off a slide, cracked my tooth. They put it back together. They put it back together, and it was back together, but it discolored a little bit, right? And I remember in junior high school, they would talk to me. They would call me a yellow tooth, and they would say because kids, they just real rude and shit. They would call me yellow tooth. They would joke around like, "Oh, let me get some butter off." I'm like, wow. So it was like, and then later in life, I did end up getting it fixed. But like I said, that's cosmetic.
Bro, can I tell you something real quick? You don't even know this story about me. I know my mom is rolling right now. Same thing happened to me.
Same thing?
I chipped my tooth, and they would call me Mike Tyson. And then when I finally got it fixed, it wasn't level. You know what I'm saying to you? And so people would, it was bigger than the other piece. And so that's crazy. We can't have the same name and same story, bro. That's getting a little weird.
And we hear, bro. We hear talking about it.
humbled us. Listen, it's the things that we got teased about.
Yeah, that's why I say so. Like, that's cosmetic. You know what I mean? Now, is he dressing? Is it bummy? Is it like not like he just doesn't care? Is he wearing like what is those hey dudes and shit everywhere? Is he like what is it? Is it like I don't know. Like, but
what is something that you would say isn't cosmetic that may be an indicator of something that can accelerate in a very negative way?
Twinsies. Somebody said twinsies.
I'm done. I got a text message that said twins. Y'all just no. Stop.
You Indian? No, I'm not Indian.
Don't lie to these people. Red dot.
Not
the feather. That racist. Wow. I would say this. If I'm looking at I'm looking at something, I'm like,
yes, hey dudes are comfy.
You said what?
You said hey dudes are comfy. Yeah, but you don't wear them out on a date. Like that's what I'm saying. Like,
What are hey dudes?
Hey dudes are shoes. They're like these like loafer. They're like these cotton made shoes. They're very, very comfortable. I have a pair. I usually wear them instead of using wearing slides, I wear them as I'm going out, going run the store or whatever.
Oh, snap. I just looked it up.
Yeah, they're comfortable as shit. I ain't gonna lie.
It's like a low top moccasin.
Yeah, they they're all cloth, and they're definitely not cheap. They're like $50.
I'm looking at them.
Yeah, comfortable as hell though. But they're good. Like if you're going to the park, right? You're going to walk your dog or whatever. You throw your hey dudes on. But some dudes I know rock them bitches to work, bro. They be rocking to work because they are stylish. But it's like, bro, like you can't be wearing them with like khakis and like.
Is it wrong if a woman sees a guy dressing like that and accepts him under the guise that she can change him? She can change the way he dresses.
She can upgrade him
if he's willing.
But that's the same if he's willing to.
So again, have the conversation. So I think it's appropriate. Okay? So let's go back. Let's go back to what you said earlier. Into the first date, and You're doing a check-in, and you're like, I enjoyed myself, but I'm a little confused about how you dressed.
I don't think that's the conversation.
What you know? You just said we're gonna be honest at the end of the day. Like, don't do that again. Like, if that's a big deal for you. I'm saying I hear so many of my female friends are struggling with the way dudes dress. Yeah. Is that a first date conversation or feedback? Like, I'm not really feeling what you wearing. Is that you choose that because you thought that was going to fit me?
No.
Okay.
Flip this then. Would it be okay for you to tell a woman that you don't like what she's wearing?
I think that it has to be okay if we're diving into this honesty thing that we keep talking about. And it's not so much like I'm criticizing you. I'm saying, oh no, I didn't. Your outfit confuses me. I think that's a kind way of being direct.
Your outfit is crazy, bro.
Well, how would you say it?
I'm confused by your outfit. Wow. Oh God. Yeah. That's a tough conversation, man. I mean, I don't know, like.
No, I don't like my woman in khakis. Come on, man. What's happening? Go ahead.
And flannels, right? Yeah. Oh Lord, Jesus Christ! How do we get here?
Because we going all the way with this. We ain't gonna just be honest about.
Yeah, we got to talk about this. This is good. Because I do feel as though like there are like, there's always an occasion for child draft, right? So I think that's where like, hey, I liked your outfit tonight. Do you think it was like, was
I don't like the sandwich method. Where you going, bro?
So this is how I would say it. I was like, man, I feel like I was overdressed. Maybe I don't know.
Were you headed somewhere after this that I'm unaware of?
Wait, were you just jump straight to bed, or was this to work?
You wore your pajamas so we can hang out later, and you can just go.
You want me to come up with that? I didn't know.
Oh God, Lee! It has to be a way.
I tried.
That was not a nice try. That was horrible, man. The directness is like, oh, okay, so just set the mood. Like, yo, we about to do some honest feedback after this date. I'm game for it. Are you game for it? That's the conversation.
Next, did you come from the gym?
Or are you headed there after this?
Are you heading after? Are we going to work out? Oh, I didn't know. I would have worn something else.
Those are passive aggressive questions. Just be direct. Like I'm sticking by it. I'm confused about what you decided to wear. I'm sticking by my feedback because ultimately that is it. I'm confused. Can you help me understand how you thought?
All right, I'm stop.
All right. Well, if y'all got any help for us, because as I get back out into this world of dating, I want to bring more honesty with me.
That is a great question. Like, how do you handle like someone not dressed appropriately, or not dressed for the occasion, or just
not dressed to your preferences,
not dressed to a level set standard, but they're a good person. You can see the potentially like they can just maybe they just never had anybody teach them how to dress.
What if you start with, this is not a deal breaker, I'm just confused about
I'm not letting you go, but I want to know what's really going on with this outfit.
I just need some clarity. Wow, I'm sticking by it. Oh, that's right. It's not, Sarah. It's not a deal breaker. Because if it persists, could it potentially become a deal breaker? This is the reason I say this, because my mentor told me once, if you have an issue with something and you don't talk about it and you let it ride, every time you let it ride, it builds up to potential resentment. When you could have said something from the gate, because then 2 years down the line and you finally blow up and say something, they could always be like, well, why didn't you say something?
Yeah, I've been doing divorce proceedings. Like, I fucking hated the way you dressed.
for 10 years. And you ain't never said nothing. Oh,
it'd be bad.
Talk about my lucky jeans. Rude. So listen,
my favorite shoes.
Listen, so Rashonda said hire her a stylist. So let me tell you what I did with one of my relationships. Because I'm in photography, I hired the makeup artist. I hired a stylist. I think those are the two people that I hired, a makeup artist and a stylist. And I got a hotel room, and I had my girl invite 5 of her friends. And I said, it's a surprise. Just come to the room, bring your girls with you. And I had the hairstylist, makeup artist, and a stylist do a workshop on how to do hair, how to do makeup, and how to dress. And I had a conversation with my girlfriend about certain things. I wasn't as direct as I want to be now, but I think that me putting this event together suggested that I felt a certain way, but I think the emphasis was more or less put on, oh, you surprised me with something great, without me having to say I'm confused about Years later, I told her, you know what I'm saying, and she just laughed. She's like, you just loved me, didn't you? I was like, I did.
There you go. It won't matter, man, but it's a special occasion sometimes, right? That you got to make sure. Yeah.
She said, did she dress better after that? Listen, she is killing it these days. We're good friends, and she's doing her own thing in a whole nother state. And it's crazy because we're so good friends. I'm her ex, but I'm also friends with her new ex. and everybody's just cool because it ain't none of that weird stuff going on, right? It's just it's solid and it's healthy, and yeah, I think it was beneficial. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
There you go.
Okay,
she got the drift. She got the drift. Yeah.
All right.
She wasn't confused anymore.
She not at all. It's but okay. So before I move on to the next video, I now have to walk in a place of accountability that if I dish that level of honesty, can I take it?
That part.
Because I went to, so after everybody met up today from the bridal party, right? The groom side, the bride side that was a part of the wedding, and we had brunch today. And of course, you know me, I dress like however I feel. So today I felt like a mix between Nipsey Hussle and Prince, I guess. So I had on some jeans, chucks, a tank top, and like a fishnet shirt on because that's how I felt. And when I say they had you are confused. You're confused about why.
So confused.
When I say they made fun of me from the time I got there to after.
Hey, bro, the fishnet is where it got me. It was like you said Nipsey Hussle and who and Prince.
They said no. They actually said, who did they say was the black guy with the guitar and the afro? Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz and Nipsey. So if you can imagine that.
Yeah, those are two different types of style.
I felt great. I felt great.
Yeah, it's exotic gangster. I don't know what
exotic gangster. Listen, I felt great about what I had, and so I'm used. But it goes back to I think Amber said it. When you grew up in the '80s, you join on each other, right? You know what I'm saying to you. So I asked him. I said, "Y'all gonna invite me to game night?" It's like, you gonna dress like that because my family gonna make fun of you. I said I'm used to it because one thing about me, I'm a live in my authenticity, right? At the same time, I got to hold space for other people to live in theirs. And so if I want to bring this level of honesty, I want to be able to receive that honesty because I probably ain't going to change it because I like what I like. I spent enough time thinking about it. I will make some accommodations. But again, as people are listening to this conversation about you giving that kind of feedback, make sure you can take it as well.
Absolutely. I think that's the most important part. I think it's like, again, when you're walking around as though you're perfect and like nothing like that you don't think, that's probably one of the most unattractive things you can probably give to somebody. You sit here, so if you're going to say something to somebody, you got to be okay for them to say it back to you.
That is very unattractive to not be able to.
It may not be in the same area. It may be in a whole other area that you thought was okay. Because they thought how they were dressing was okay or whatever their area. So.
Yep. I don't like how you dress. You're like, well, I'm confused by how you lead. Can you give me some? Oh God, you attacked my manhood. I'm offended. She said an ex-stripper and a Marlboro man. That's fine. It's kind of accurate, but I'm offended. Kind of. Oh man. All right, last video because I think it's 3 a.m. where Donovan is. So
it's about to be 1. It's 1:45 almost. Yeah.
All right, tell me what you think about this, and we're gonna get out of here.
Why does the Bible say that each man must love his wife and the wife must respect her husband? Why is it love and respect and not love and love? Why do we have to give different things in the relationship? I'll tell you why, and it's so simple. It is because a man cannot be with a woman he doesn't love, just like a woman cannot be with a man she doesn't respect. Ladies, if you're in a healthy relationship, when was the last time you paused and you told your man, baby, I respect you? And not only did you tell him, but you changed your life and you started to act accordingly. And you let him mentor you, and you let him guide you, and you let him correct you. You let him be your head. We're so scared of being submissive, but my loves, being submissive doesn't mean that you're his slave. Being submissive means that you crave to be under his wings because you know that's the safest place to be. I encourage you to try this. God bless you.
That's powerful. So yeah, I think this is the issue that we have, right, within our society, and especially again with social media. It's the definition of words.
Yes.
Definition of words, right? So there's your definition, and there's the definition of certain things, right? So when most women hear submissive, they think as though like they are being a slave, right? No, that's not what it is. Like, and that there is a submission on both sides. I submit to you, you submit to me, we're submitting to each other, right? So that's literally just saying that we are tied to each other, and we're going to do what we want for each other, right? That's what that is. And it's taking care of, we were caring for. Like, so if I'm sick and you're taking care of me, that's me being submissive to you, right? Or vice versa, one or the other, right? But it's being submissive to that person. And it's the taking care of it, and it's like it's the caring. It's a care. If you look at it from it's a caring standpoint, and not a dictatorship, or I'm demanding, or I'm making you do something, and you're going to be my slave type thing, and that's not what it is. So
when you were talking, I looked up the difference between, because what I think people hear when they hear submission is they hear surrender, and so it said that's
what it is. It is surrendering.
So now listen to it though. It says submission is an act of yielding another's will, while surrender is an act of letting go of control. Do you see a difference there or no?
Yeah, one more time.
Submission is the act of yielding to another's will, while surrender is the act of letting go of control.
Okay. Letting go of control.
Rashonda saw me looking at my phone. She knew exactly what I was doing. Don is looking up the definitions always. Because you said there is the definition. I'm like, what is the definition? Maybe this whole time my issue is that I don't really know what the definition is.
I think that's the biggest thing, is most times people don't know that.
You're still in control of you, but based in this partnership, the submission is there. And I don't know, man. I think that, well, speak to, if you could for a moment, why respect is so big for a man.
Because it lasts longer than love.
Shit. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in tonight. Because if you didn't get nothing else, my God,
it's like what they asked. Like, was it the guy? No, it was the guy. It was Casino. One of those. He said, "Would you ever rather be feared or loved?" Right? He said, "I'd rather be feared because feared lasts longer than love." Love is a feeling. You know, respect is an act. Like, respect is like just something that you have for another person, and it's really just like if your boss comes in office, right? What do you look like you're doing? Like you fucking working, right? And that's a fear, but that's like also that's a form of respect. Like this is their job, this is their company, right? I got to look like I'm working. Right, because I don't want to lose my job, but in a sense, like something's going to be taken from me. But it's just the respect is like you have to say, you know what, this person is my person, and I love them for what they're doing. I love them for who they are, but most of all, you respect them for the person that they are at the core. You know what I mean? Like the beliefs, the ideas, the protection, like all those things of who they are as a man for you, provider, father, all those things. So I think that men are seen as so right now, like it's not even like they're even in our society right now. It's like they're seen very disposable in your relationship. Like they don't need to be there. Like I remember getting into it with my mom because it was Thanksgiving Day. It was Thanksgiving weekend or whatever, a couple years ago. And, she had mentioned my daughter was there, and it was me, my son, my daughter, my girlfriend at the time. And we're hanging out, and my mom is there, and we're talking about men. And I was like, yeah, my dad wasn't really there, for me. It's like, yeah. And my mom started to say, well, men ain't this. It's like, I'm like, Mom, I'm a man. And she's looking at me like, well, you're not that guy, right? And I was like, I said, but and then my daughter's still in the room and she's talking about it. I'm like, Mom, I said, stop. I said, that is your relationship with men. That is your exposure to the type of men. I said, maybe you need to take a little responsibility and say, like, these are the men that you allowed to have to be around you, right? Because, and I said, but don't try to feed my daughter that same stuff, because her relationship with men are going to be different than your relationship with men, because she has men in her life that are going to be there for her. She has guys that are going to step up and that she respects. She has her brother, she has me, she has her grandfather, she has her uncle, like all these other men. I said that you didn't have. And that's not taking, but it's showing that her relationship is going to be different than what yours is. because she's seen what a good man looks like. She's seen what good men look like and how they operate, how they take care of their families, right? You didn't see that. So don't throw that on her, because she respects the men in her life. And I think that's a part too, is like when we look at men being disposable, is like because they've been taken away and like they're not there, it becomes as though like they're not needed. Right. And like that's the part where you have to understand is like they are needed. Men are needed there for women, needed there for their daughters, for their sons. But they need that figure. And you have to respect that part. And that's the part that I think is just missing within a lot of spaces, man. It's hard.
I'm almost in my head. Well, before I say that, Rashonda gave you some flowers, man. She said, good job, D2. That's technically he's D1. But good job. That's how things keep going down to generations.
Yeah, it's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle.
So would I be wrong? So I'm trying to dissect this all in my head. I know I need to write it down, but when I hear love versus respect, based on what you just said, and the lack of love kind of gives way to you're not needed, and the lack of love kind of gives way to you're not valued. Am I headed in the right direction, or are you seeing it a little different?
I mean, if you're loving someone because they're providing, or they're fulfilling a need, then yes. That's also not that's conditional, right? I love you based on these conditions.
I'm trying to see if there's a connection between if men want respect and women want the love, or that's the way they're supposed to be prioritized one over the other. I'm also looking at, is the fact that women want love connected to their how loved they feel, so really gives way to how much they nurture, and how respected a man feels give way to how much he provides. I
think sometimes love is equivalent to how much they're being taken care of, how well they're taken care of, how much are they
provided,
right? Or provided to, right? Provided for,
yeah.
And I think that is a way that can be measured of how much he loves me, right?
So if a woman feels love based on how her husband provides for her, and a man feels respected by how his wife nurtures him,
how she nurtures him, how she treats him, how she help, like in what's the word we used earlier, submits to him, you know, in a sense, right? And I think, but again, it goes both ways, because that is like, he knows that's what he's providing is for her, is to that security, right? It is the security that he's providing, right? The protection. Because, you know, like a woman feels different walking down a dark street with her man versus walking by herself.
So what's that word you just used? You said, say that last part again before the woman walking down the street. You said when they feel.
I don't remember his.
I know, man. I know. I knew he was gonna say that. Oh.
Yeah, I don't remember, man. I don't remember.
Oh, hold on. I can grab it in my brain. It said you were talking about when a woman feels loved, when she's provided for, she feels
protected. She feels as though she's loved, she's cared for, she's protected most of the time is a big thing.
All right. This means I got to bring you back on the show, because I'm really looking at this through the lens of what does it mean? You know what I'm saying? When a man feels respected, what does he do differently? When a woman feels loved, what does she do differently? And why those things? Not to say that man doesn't want love or a woman doesn't want respect, but just why are we given this idea that man prioritizes? They'd rather be told you respect me.
Same thing though, but I think it's the same thing. It's just it's how we view it.
Okay.
Right? Because I think the respect is still like, that's still love. Because most time, like, a woman's not going to respect somebody she doesn't love. Period. Right.
Hold on. She loves her boss because she respects him.
No,
or is that
not in that sense? I mean, in the sense of like, he's doing all these things for her. She's getting a check for that. Right. That's different.
Okay.
She's being taken care of in that sense. But when I say it from a standpoint of like, she loves the man that she respects. Like, I don't think that she can have, like, she would not have love for that man if she did not respect him. Period.
So a man will question a woman's respect for him if she doesn't love him, and a woman will question a man's love for her if she doesn't.
You are fucking confusing the hell out of me.
Are you confused?
But I hear you. Yes.
I'm going down the path. I'm gonna call you at 4 a.m. All right, man. I got it.
Again, I think it's still all part of the same. Like, if we look at it from a standpoint of like, all right, like, if I love someone, right? Because it's kind of like, if we go to the Bible, like the God fearing, right?
Yeah.
When we look at God fearing, I know when I first thought of it, I was like, why do we have to be afraid of God, right? But it wasn't in that sense. It was a respect for God, to not disappoint him, to not make him, to not disappoint them, to not, let them down, right? So I feel as though, like, when we talk about that respect, and we have that love and admiration for God, right? We love him, we respect him.
Yeah.
So, and that is how you show your love, is by respecting that man, right? You won't call him out his name. You won't do the things. You are there for him. If he falls, he's there for you. That's his job. You fall, he's there to pick you up. He's there to be there for you. If he falls, you just like, your love you're going to tell him to get up. But if you respect him, I got you.
Would you rather hear from your woman, I love you, or respect you?
I mean, that's a good question. That's a good question.
If you had to choose between two, which one would you prefer to hear?
I would choose love. But I think that's just me. I'm a little different. Yeah. So, but I man, you got me back in the corner over here, man. Shit. But it's like, I think so. I think it over time. I think if on my deathbed, right, I wanted to hear her say I love you, right? But more than anything, I respected you from my family. That would bring me more to tears than anything. You just telling me you love me.
Interesting. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the fact, like, you respect everything that I did. I respect how you provided for us. You nurtured us. You took care of us. I respect how you handle me. I respect, like, those types of things.
You know what my issue is with that? I think that I hear the word love used so much. It's just it's a common term that's used for so many different things. I don't feel like respect is used as much. It seems like a more rare word to hear. But even outside of that, I think my preference is to hear, I respect you.
Yeah, I think so too, man. It's like I said,
yeah.
I just think it's just how men and women are different.
Yeah.
Right. And how they receive certain things, you know what I mean? So I think that is a word that is used a lot to communicate of a feeling or an emotion or a way of being, right, about somebody, like a feeling about somebody, and I think let's just say, for instance, with me, you say you and I walking down the street, and I'm like, man, dude, I respect everything that you're doing, man. I love everything you're doing. Yo, much respect to you, bro, for you doing what you're doing.
I'm hearing that over love all day.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that shit just means that much more. Like, bro, I respect everything that you're doing, man. With the podcast, with the man, you're on your journey that you're going on. You're getting to understand yourself. You're doing the work. You're doing the things that you're supposed to do. I respect that so much, man.
It makes me feel like
it was like
that'll make me pause. Respect confirms the value that I believe I have in my leadership.
It validates you.
Yeah. And in my role as a leader. And then I think that when you hear somebody love you, it validates my value of you, something like that. But anyway, I know it's 6:00 in the morning there. We got to get you out of here.
We confuse love with lust sometimes.
Yep. And they look alike until it's time to sacrifice,
like really get down to it. Right.
So, man, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna stay within the scope of what we do. At the end of every episode, we like to leave you guys with a resource, because we told you in the beginning you might be triggered by something that we said. If you're confused about what somebody wore on a date, you can call 988 to express your concerns about why they wore Hey Dudes on your first date.
Confused.
For real though, the suicide crisis hotline is 988. You can call or you can go online and chat with someone live. Whatever it is you're wondering about, especially if you're struggling with suicidal thoughts or you're struggling with depression, call and get some help. Especially if you feel like you have no one, that number is a resource that many of our listeners have called and got connected to, and they do follow-ups. And so that's a great number. So screenshot this, share it with a friend that might be struggling with something, or even if you have more of a surface-based question about, I don't really know how to choose the person to date, or I'm struggling as a single parent. This is also a good resource to call and get get connected to maybe a support group, maybe a community of people like you who are, doing a journey together. If you're feeling lonely, you know what I'm saying? Valentine's didn't go the way you planned, and you're struggling just with, the outcome, or for you starting to feel desperate because you're over 30 or whatnot, whatever it is, this is a good resource to get you connected. There's a lot of people out there like you that are putting in the work together, and that's making it a lot easier. So I want to leave you with that resource at the end of this podcast.
Absolutely.
You got any final words for him, bro?
And I will say this is that, we're all on a journey. We're all on in an era of really trying to get to know ourselves and doing the work. I feel that everybody needs to continue to do the work on themselves and focus on them in that sense of understand that you will never be healed. Right. And that's okay. You have to be okay with understanding that there's no one there's no pill you're going to take. There's no class you're going to take. There's no therapist that's going to give you all the answers, because the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to peel back layers. You're going to peel back layers. And you're going to see that there's so much that you've gone through, and it's okay. And just be able to accept it and be able to say, you know what, it's in the past. It doesn't define who you are, and it doesn't define on where you want to go and who you want to be. Yeah. But it is, and that's why I don't call it mental health. I call it mental fitness, because it is a muscle that you have to continue to work out. It's something that it is to help you provide you with how to handle and manage your triggers, how to handle and manage other people's triggers, and to be able to cope and deal with a regular everyday life. Like, I'm going back to work, and I'm struggling with it. You know what I mean? In the office, I don't want to go back in the office. You know what I mean? But it's little stuff like that, but we gotta deal with it. And everybody has triggers, everybody has issues, and it's okay. Just be kind and show grace, so that you can actually have grace being shown to you.
And as he said earlier, man, have the conversations that you need to have.
The uncomfortable conversations, yes.
All right, man, I'm going to pray us out of here. Father God, we thank you so much for tonight. We thank you for the opportunity to come on this podcast and just, pour out into our generation. Hopefully something that we said helped. Whoever did get help, may they take that and do the work with it. May they take it to you in prayer. May they take it to a therapist. May they take it to their friends. May they take it to the mirror. Yeah, and start unpacking and start having some real conversations with themselves, Father God. If there's anybody listening that's, in delusion, Father God, we just pray for a way of escape, a safe exit. Show us the self-sabotage we may be walking in. If there's anybody who's been doing the right thing just with the wrong people, help us to gather the courage to change the zip code if that's what's needed. Ultimately, we just thank you that tonight something was said that was helpful, and may we not be hoarders of our experiences. May we take what we've experienced, share it in a healthy way in public forums that others may learn and may see, and that whatever we thought that was going to destroy us, we turn that and use that as a weapon to not only help others, but also to use as a building block to the lives that we really want to live. So we thank you for how you continue to participate, save us, how you continue to just comfort us and be the true healer that we need. And as we go to bed tonight, may we just rest peacefully and wake up in the morning with gratitude in our hearts, ready to give grace, ready to have the conversation that needs to be had, and ready just to commit to the work of being our best selves just in this moment, today. Not in the past, not in the future, just today. We thank you for it all. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen to that, brother.
All right, y'all. Well,
Great.
Y'all say bye to Donovan, and hopefully we see him again soon. Don't forget to go to Instagram, Donovan Gaspard.
Yep, Donovan G. Gaspard, yep.
Donovan G. Gaspard, get connected with his podcast. And ladies and gentlemen, we see you guys next week.
Yes, sir. Later, man. Appreciate you, man, for having me on.
For sure, man. Anytime.
Sure. Let's go.